Hey guys, this is Sandeep Kol. Welcome to my channel LearnTech. Hope you guys had a great new year, and from LearnTech, wish you all a very happy new year. Now, today's video, which we will have, this will be about BMC remedy change management. So, in this, we will see two things. We will see the basic architecture of change management, how change management functions as part of an ITSM suite, and additionally also we will see how approvals are configured in change management and how they work. So we will take example of the out of the box workflows and approvals, and then we will see how it works with remedy change management. So let's get started. uh, we have we can see this is a change management console, as we have also seen in our previous videos about our incident management and SLM and other applications. So the console here is similar. There is no changes in the console. So this is all 90% of the console is has functionalities similar to incident management. So we'll not get much detail into the console. It's all what you can get in the incident management. If you want to understand the console, just go through that incident management video if you are new to the channel. Now for the change management, what we will do, we will create a new change. Then we will see how we can add an approver to the change and how it works. So before creating a change, let me show you how we can add an approval. Okay, so from here I will go to the application administration. So in the application administration, we can use out of the box approval policies or rules. We can use them for our application. So we'll see how we can do that. So let me go here. Okay, so in the I am here in the foundation, then advanced options, and here you can see there is this approval process configuration. So if I double click this, it will open up a new tab. So here we add the basically the approval process. So the what is an approval process? This process will define at what stage of a particular application, in our case change, this particular approval will start and how it will work. So let me open one approval here. Let me search on this form. So this is, I'm selecting the change management form. Then here, I think that's enough. Let me see the enabled ones, and the process which I'm looking for is review. So this is the initial approval. I'll explain you what exactly is this. Okay, now you can see this is the approval process which has been configured earlier. You can add your own new approval process and you can edit it into system. So here this phase is called review phase. So this there is a phase in a change management called review phase. So this approval will work on the review phase. Then this is the process which we are basically using. So this is an out of box process from BMC. If you go to the approval administration console, so there you will be able to see all these processes. You can create your own custom processes. So for the custom processes, we will take in a separate video. I will explain you how to build a custom process approval and then how to use it in your application. But as of now, we will use the out of the box flow. So this works with change management. This is called change level CIR review approval. It works with the it's an out of the box approval process which we will use. Now how this will function, if I go here on the status flow, so this will apply for this is a standard process. Then the approver will start at draft. So when the change will go to the draft state, so this approval will be applied, and once it's approved, it will go for request for change. In case the approval is rejected, the status will be set as rejected. And if there are no approvers, then it will again go to request for change. So at this particular state, when the change moves to draft state, it will check if there are any approvers, or if there is any approval process configured at that stage. It will apply that, and in that it will try to find out the approvers, that I will show you how we add them. And then if it will go for an approval. In case there are no approvals, then it will directly move to the next stage. Okay, so you can add here some additional qualifications. As of now, we are keeping it blank. So this is the sorry, so this is the approval process configuration. Now let me go back to the previous screen. So here what I will do now, I will add one approver. Okay, so for that I need to go to the change management. Here it is. Okay, so let me go to the change management, and here I need to go to approvals. So approval mapping. So let me double click on this. It will open up an approval mapping form. So here you can define your approvers. So approvers can be an individual, or it can be a group. So as of now, for this particular case, we will take as it this is an individual. So I can show you, I can add as an individual approver here. Let's suppose this is my user. Then I will say last. Okay, what you need to do, type your first name, then the initials, then press enter. It will bring in the approver ID. That is the login ID of this user. Now, where this approval will be applicable. So here in our case, it is change, but we can use it for other applications also. Then the phase name. You remember the phase I showed you on that approval configuration form. So this is the phase. If it is enabled here, if I go here, if it is enabled here, you can see here it is enabled. Then in this in this phase I will be able to select it. So I will say review. Then I can define the conditions of the change. So these are different conditions based on which the system will check that whether I need to apply this approver or not. Suppose you can define it on categorization, you can define it on role, let's say requested by group, change manager, change coordinator, change implementer. So these are different criterias. So system will check at the time of the creation of the change if this matches with these conditions. If your change manager matches with the change manager given in the your change, well, at the time of the creation, then it will apply this approver. Similarly, I have some advanced conditions. You can define on change type, what type of the change this is, then class, whether it's a normal, emergency, expedite. So these are different options or criterias based on which you can define your mapping. I have already added this approver. I'll show you. Let me not save this. Okay, so now let me again search. So here you can see this is my there will be only one which is enabled. Okay, so this is my approval which I have defined, and here the criteria which I have defined, that the class should be normal, and impact and urgency should impact should be significant large, and urgency should be high. That means it should be a medium priority ticket. So this is the criteria which I have set. Now let's go back to the administration console. Let me go back. I hope you guys are understanding this, what we are trying to do here. So let me go to the change management console. Then let me create a new change. I'll directly go to a new change, will not create. Okay, now this is the change form. So when you are creating a change, you can see the flow and the process. It looks similar to incident management. It is similar, but yes, the stages and statuses, everything is different, and it is aligned with the change management process as per ITSM or ITL perspective. It is aligned here. You can see there are different stages of a change. So we have initiate, that means the initial state when you're drafting a change. Then you have review and authorize, that means where the particular change is being reviewed by the authorized persons, and then once it is reviewed, authorized, then it is approved, and it moves to the next stage, which is plan and schedule. So that plan and schedule, You will plan the change, you will schedule the change when you want to implement the change. Then it goes to the implementation. So implementation is status where you implement the change, basically where you do the actual changes what has been instructed in the change. Then it goes to the close state. So the process wise, from the tool perspective, to create a change, you have these options here. You need to define a service. So this is basically a business service, so for which you want to apply a change. So you can see there is a list which has been defined here. So you can mention which service you need to apply this change for. There are this is all configurable options where you can define the systems as sorry services as per your organization policy, and then you can do this. So I can select anything here randomly. Okay, now I will just make some points. So now the class by default it is selected as normal. You can select anything here like emergency, expedite, latent, normal, standard. So these are different types of changes. If you go through the ITL you know norms, you will get to know that what is an emergency change, what is an expedite change, latent change. Emergency is when you the change is basically needed instantly, so then you call it as an emergency change. You don't need an incident. Then latent change also is that when you have already done the change into the system, but then you want to make a record of the change, so you will use that latent change process. We'll not go in detail into this because that's not our topic as of now. Now the other things like impact, urgency, so we have to select it. You remember we have in approvals we have configured the class should be normal. Now our impact and urgency should be significant, large as an impact, and urgency should be high. So because then only our system will apply the approvals. In case I change this to something else, the approvals will not work because my approver which I have defined is based on these two criterias where the class is normal and this impact is significantly large and urgency is high. Then you have these risk level. You can define the risk level of the change. There is an option to define a risk level can be defined based on the questions also, so that you can get it from here. So if you have already defined there is a configuration where you define the risk level, you ask your user different set of questions. So and once he answers these questions, then your risk level is defined. For example, here, does this change need to be done during the business hours? So if you say no, if you have sent yes, then this will apply, it will be a high priority change. Then you need, how many times have you performed this specific change in the last year? Say never. So has the all the we can say yes. I'm just selecting any random options, but you can go into detail. This is just if anybody who understands the change management process, for him, he's it's a known thing that you need to define the risk. Now, if I save this, it will you know define my risk level. It will automatically define it from 1 to 5. Okay. Now the status, you can see the change status. It is initially the draft, then it moves to different statuses. Okay. So we'll see that. Now in the change, we have the manager group, change manager group. So we will select some group as a change manager group. Then in that group we have this change manager. As of now we will not select this. Then we have vendor group and vendor ticket number. These are basically used when this change is basically done by vendors. So if you have a, let's suppose, a vendor who is serving you and they have their own system where they manage their changes, so then you can, when you assign the change to that vendor group, you can mention the details here. Because sometimes we do not give access to of the application to the our vendors. Then in that case this becomes helpful for us to managing that. Then coming on other part of the change, we have work details. This is the one normal work log where you can add it here. Below this is an approval table. We will see what is the use of this when we go for the approvals. Then categorization, you can define the categorization of the change. You will have different types of categorization defined in the system. So you can mention anything here in the categorization. So it will be based again, based upon your, I'm not using it as of now, but it will be based on the how you are raising the change. Then similarly the product categorization, if it is related to some product, suppose you have your CMDB or configurational database setup, and also you have your product categorization setup, you can define this product category. Let's suppose you are making a change for a particular server and it's a Microsoft, let's suppose 2012 server, so you can define that categorization here. Or for a particular software, then you can define it here. Then the tasks, yes, this is a very critical part of change management. So once a change is raised, so there are different types of tasks which are performed by different teams, and once they perform these tasks, then the system will help, the change will be completed. For example, if suppose you are making a change on a server, and then let's suppose it's an email server, so then there are, let's suppose, step 1 2 3 4 tasks which you need to fulfill before you basically make the changes. So it can be, let's suppose, network team is checking the network, DB team is checking the DB, some other team is validating something else on the exchange server, and then once they are all done, they confirm you, and then you make the changes on the exchange server. So these are the different scenarios in which we can use a task management. So in the task, you have three options. We have task template, task group template, and ad hoc. So task template is, you have initially defined a template for the tasks, and then you're using it here in the change. Then task group template is like, let me show it to you. Click on relate. It will give me a group of tasks which have been defined by us earlier, and then I can use it. For example, there are some repetitive things which we do for every frequent changes which are happening. So what we do, we create a group of tasks, and then we group them together, and then we use them in the change management as a task group template. Currently, if I will not attach any task because it will not allow me to go proceed further. Tasks we will take in separately. So let me close this. But this is how you can define it. It's just a simple example of how you can use the tasks in the change management. Then we have relationship. Relationship is where you can define the relationships with the change. It can be incident, problem, configuration item, any asset, anything in the system which is related to the change, you can define here. So what I will do here, I will, let me relate a configuration item. So let me see if I can get anything on related to the email. Okay, so I have got an email configuration item. So I will relate it. For example, this is this change is related to the email services. So here also I will change email. Okay. Now I have attached a configuration item, but in reality is, in some, when you are raising a change, this can be a email server also, it can be an exchange server also, it depends on what type of the change you are raising. So then we have date and system. We will see how this will work. You can see we have scheduled start date, actual start date, end date. We will see it. Okay. Now let me do one thing. Let me see the change first. Now when I have saved the change, you can see this is all grayed out because we have configured an approver at the draft stage. So when the, you can see here, if I go here, when the status is draft, there will be an approver. So if I go back here, now the change also states that approval. If this here in this stage you can see this approval displayed, that means the change is currently grayed out. Nobody can make any changes unless and until somebody approves it. Now how we will come to know that who, with whom it is pending for approval? So that will be available here in the, in this table. If I go here in this table, you can see it is currently pending with Alan for an approval. In real time scenarios, it can be some team also, it can be some individual person also, it can be multiple people for whom it is waiting for an approver, sorry, approvals. Then because I am the approver and I am raising a change, so in that case it gives me an option here to approve it automatically. or in normal scenarios you will not get this option if somebody else is a basically approver here. So what I will do, I will approve it from here itself. Okay, now I have approved the change. You can see the changes here. Everything has gone back to normal. The change has moved to review and authorize phase. So here if you see, the status says request for change. Now if you go back here, the approved, request for change. That means once the change is approved, it should go to request for change. Now we have to move the change to the next stage. So here now you can see the change has moved to plan and schedule phase. So in here we need to basically key in the schedule start and schedule end date. So here you have to define the schedule of the change when the change is planned. Let's suppose my change is planned from 5th of Jan to 7th of Jan. Okay, and then I will say save and next stage. Either you can save it, it will be remain in the same stage, or you can click on the next stage, it will move to the next stage. Okay, so now this has gone schedule for approval. So if there are approvals configured at this stage, it will again go for an approval. It will grade out everything, and then you have to again somebody has to approve it. But if there is no approval, it will move to the next stage. So again I'll go for, so now the change is scheduled. So there was no approval at the scheduled phase. Now the change is scheduled. Now I will move the change to the implementation stage. So here I will click on next stage. If there are implementation approvals, it will again ask me for an approval. And normally in change we have a business approver, we have a business approver, and then we have a implementation approver. So currently there is no approval in the implementation, so it is moving to the next stage. This uh, we have this change which has moved to the implementation stage, and you can see currently implementation in progress. Now I will move the change to, if I move the change to the next stage, it will be in closed phase. So here when we are doing the implementation, while you are making the changes to the system, you have to define the actual start and actual date. So what is the difference between scheduled and actual? So sometimes what happens that you plan a change on a particular date and time, but due to some circumstances, due to some issues, you cannot do it at that particular time. So then what you do, you define the actual start and end date. That means actual start and end date means the dates on which the change actually happened. Scheduled is plan, that I have planned this change on a particular date, from this date to this date. But in actual scenario, it happened from this date to this date. So I can here select those dates, actual start date and end date, and I can close the change. Now let me go back to the next stage. Now we can see there will be a pop-up. It will show me the actual start and end date. So let me close this. In case you forget to provide these details, start and end date, in case you forget to provide start and end date, so we have to provide here the actual start and end date. So let me say 5, and this the actual end date is 7. So in that case it is the same. Then I will save it. Okay, now the change is completed. You can see the status is completed. The status reason is already updated. Final review complete. You can update it here. Additional coding required. Final review complete. Final review required. So these are different options you have here for a change. And then if I say next stage, then the change will go into the closed state. That means after this, you cannot make any changes into the change. So you can see this is the complete life cycle of a change management or a change process. How a change is initiated, how it is approved, and then how it is moved to the final close state. The approvals can be at different stages. We have only seen one, which is at the initial review phase, but there can be approvals at plan and schedule, approvals at implementation, and also approvals at the closure. So, for example, when you have implemented the change, everything is done, but you want somebody to verify it, then there are closed down approvals, that the change cannot be closed unless and until it has been verified or approved by person A or B. So this is a complete process of change management, how it works along with the approvals. So this is it from my side for a basic change management overview. I hope you like my video. Please subscribe to our channel, and I will give you more videos on Remedy ITSM, and basically on I am planning to bring videos on Helix, where you will have a new look and feel of every application, like incident, problem, change. So we will see that in future. Thank you.